another exciting episode of Unzip, Reboot and Leave podcast, URL podcast. Today we have Australia-Afghan Chamber of Commerce President with us. He is entrepreneur, mentor in Catalyst, which is an accelerator for migrants and refugees. He is Hazara refugee from Afghanistan who is living in Australia since 2000. Now he is very well blended member in the community. He stood in council election twice and state election once. Please welcome John Gulzari. How are you, John, man?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, your effort.
Now, thank you. Thank you for your time, man.
Pleasure.
Okay, so straight to the question. What is the biggest misconceptions Australians means Australian plus other immigrants also have about refugees? The biggest misconception about refugees.
Well, yeah, thank you for asking this important question. Just for your audience, if they don't know, if they never heard of me, they can go to ABC channel iView. In that, there's a national podcast around national program for around Australia. The title is "You Can't Ask That from
Right.
Refugees."
I
Yep.
will put that link in the
So,
description as
yep,
well.
yes,
Yeah.
so, yep. So in that, I explain many misconceptions that the Australians in general have about refugees and asylum seeker. First thing is that well, the refugees, migrants, they come with the baggage. So it means they come with their beliefs, their things, their norms, their culture, their tradition, everything to come with them, and then they are not fitting in this society here in Australia. And there's a bizarre politician in Australia who says that when you come to Australia, a migrant to Australia, leave your baggage at the door. And she is talking about assimilation. Assimilation is the word that says everything that the native Australians or maybe ordinary Australians do, you have to do like that. You have to leave your culture at the door, leave all your baggage at the door. When you come, an analogy, this says when you quack like a duck, walk like a duck, and talk like a duck. And I think that is wrong, is incorrect and immoral. Reason being because Australia for past 100 years, if not more than that, is based on principle of multiculturalism, which means that there's like the Danang where I live now, there's over 200 nationalities, over 150 nationalities, over 200 languages spoken, and there's under 50 faith religions. All this and us Danang is one of the most multicultural council or municipality or locality in Australia. So what that means? That means that multiculturalism, or maybe now Europe and other countries talking about interculturalism, which means the cultural, they come intermingle together.
Yes.
Means we accept the people the way they are, regardless of their color of their skin, regardless of the language they speak, regardless of culture they have, regardless of faith they have. But we all came here to contribute to the country, and we wanted to make peace with each other and be very modest, civilized, and also be very living in harmony and coexistent. Otherwise, there will be fightings, otherwise, there will be war, otherwise, there will be civil war, otherwise, there will be chaos and everything. So, that is one of the good qualities of Australia, that multiculturalism. In this, actually, people are encouraged to share about their culture, people are encouraged to share about their language, people are encouraged to share about their values, norms, traditions. You have to look the way you are look. You don't have to change your appearance and all become like a duck and quack like a duck. But you be who you are. You look the way you look. Today I appear like this. In my country, I can't do that because some people persecute me based on the way I look, based the things that I wear, and my language.
And thank you, John, that you came in this attire. Thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure. Like, see, yep. For centuries, my culture has been persecuted. And then that's why
Right,
I wrote this book, because about the embroideries and handicrafts of my people, because this is the
right.
cultural heritage that this belongs. And if I don't do that, it will be disappearing forever. And we don't want the cultural heritage of the world to disappear forever. And this is based on racism, this is based on monotheism or maybe monoculture, that people want says, okay, you have to look like us, you have to quack like us, you have to dress like us, you have to look the way like us, you have to speak the way we speak, you know. You leave your language at the door, you leave your baggage at the door, you
Mhm.
leave everything at the door. So that is the, in general terms, the norm and misconceptions that, when migrants, refugees, when they come here, they become burden on Centrelink, they become burden on Social Security, they become burden on pensions, they become burdens, because all this is wrong. Because I know hundreds and thousands of asylum seekers, refugees, and migrants. When they come here, they bring skill with them, they bring talent with them, they bring they were well qualified in their own countries. They were doctors, professionals, engineers, lawyers, nurses, everything. As a matter of fact, they left their countries because of war, persecution, discriminations, and many other inadequacies, that they left their country and their circumstances compelled them to come here. They didn't come here to beg from people, ask for money or for handouts. They come here so they can survive, they can live in harmony and coexistence, and they can use their skills and talents, providing that they are given a chance. One of the example is that in 1999 I came towards the end of 99, and I was given temporary protection visa for 5 years. So this 5 years temporary protection visa has five disadvantages. Well, it's fine that it was allowing me to stay in the community, but it has five downsides. Number one, I cannot bring my family here. Number two, I cannot travel out of the country. If I go there, then I cannot come back. Number three is there was no assistance with my language, because they says you came here by boat, you broke Australian laws, and you are not allowed to have 520 hours of English language program. And it was also hinder me from going to college and universities, higher education, I mean, because they says if you go, if you can study, but you have to pay international fees. Look, a person who came by boat, where I can find $40,000 per year or per degree to educate myself without understanding English or anything. And number fourth is there was no case manager or assistance available who can guide me to find career, find employment, go to study English, go to college or university, what careers to choose, who to ask for help. And I was a teenager, I was 17, 18 years of age. I did not have relatives, I did not have a friend, I did not have a family members, I did not have somebody who can guide me. I had no guardians with me who can lead me to the right path. So I stumbled upon many hardship. I struggled to find a job. I struggled to find housing. I struggled to get a rent because there was discriminations. I struggled to make a friend. I struggled to even catching a bus. I could not catch a bus because I didn't know where it goes, what it does, and things like that. I could not speak English, so I was scared to go to people and ask them. So this was my brief answer to your question.
No, no, very nice, very nice. If I can ask you, if you are comfortable, can you please little bit tell us that boat journey, if you want to?
Yeah, sure, I'm
I
fine.
mean, the reason I ask is like a lot of Indians are going into other countries like this, but that means there are a lot of corruption and there are a lot of organized crime slash bad things happening. So, how was your experience at that time?
Was a horrible journey. Reason being because I was teenager, like 16, 17, when I left home Afghanistan in central region of Afghanistan known as Hazarajat or Hazaristan. And in the hand of people smugglers, I came across the border to Pakistan. From there, people smugglers brought me from there to make the necessary documents and brought me to Indonesia. So I flew to Indonesia and I was there for a couple of weeks before they can find me another smugglers so I can fish out I can go with the fishermen's by boat to somewhere which is safe. I didn't know where I'm heading. America, Australia, Canada, I don't know where. I was a very teenager. I could not speak English, a word of English. I was did not study anything because I was just studied religious education at home because there's no school in my village and people are struggling to make a living. From poor farming family, so in '99 I came to Indonesia with some other guys from my village and my areas because we all escaping the persecution in the hands of Taliban because they were so brutal and there was atrocities and murders and a lot of people in thousands being killed in West Kabul and also in Mazar Sharif and also in Kandapush in my province, in Ghazni province. And there's thousands of people been murdered by it's been very detailed documented by Human Rights Watch. You can go to their website and you can see all the documents and details uploaded there. Yeah, so we escaped persecution in 1999. A lot of people been killed, and we just made it to Indonesia safely in the hands of people smugglers.
And
And
you guys had to pay them, right? Hefty fees.
of course, we paid a
Yes.
large sum of money. Like my father sold portion of our land, and we just barely made $4,000 or $5,000. And that was the total money I got, US dollars, 5,000. And we came. They brought me to Indonesia around 2,000, $3,000 in 1999. And then from there, they charged an extra $2,500 to put us in a boat, in a fishing boat. And in the mercy of fishermen, because they could not speak English, we could neither. And there's a lot of people drowned at the sea because the vessels, the fishing boats, were not seaworthy. And some people were taken in the ocean and dropped in the middle of the ocean. Then they run away and come back because they can swim long distances. And people were left in the ocean. So people didn't know where to go, and some people just drowned at sea. So at the night, there was 40 people in this fishing boat, little fishing boat. Um, like I can say, let's say, no, I don't know, 10 meters fishing boat, 10 meter by 4 meter. And this is going like, 2 kilometers per day, it was very slow. So we were 14 nights and 14 days at the sea. I remember a week in our journey because we were under the tent, under the cavity of the boat when the boat is like that. So you sit inside the cavity and there was curtains on top of our heads so nobody can see us. And there was fume, there was smoke, there was dust, there was moist. We were all throwing up, very sick. We were all sick to the gut. And I've never made a journey by boat and never seen this vast ocean. And all people were strangers. And I was very teenager, like 17. I was very scared and frightened. And I never thought I'd gonna make this journey, because a week in our journey we were just we caught by cyclones and typhoons, so there's waves like 4 or 5 meters on top of our head, was like nearly drowning the sea, and we just pumping the water out, throwing the water out with hands, with the buckets and everything, shoveling out. So yeah, whole day we done like that because the cyclone and the sea waves never stopped. Just going over our heads. We just hold each other like hand to hand, like buckling up like that each other. Uh, we thought this is the last moment. This is it. So we pay $5,000 to come here to die. At the middle of this Pacific Ocean that we don't know where we're going because we ask fishermen where we're going. It says we're just going there. How long we're going to get there? It says we don't know. You say where we're taking us? I say we don't know. There is no GPS. There was no satellite phone. There was no safety vest. There was no extra boat for us to take us to safety in case if some trouble happens. There was nothing. We're just at the mercy of God. We're just going there. And halfway there, just nearly drowned. So whole day we're just bucketing out the waters. We're so exhausted, sick, throwing out, and just I fell asleep at night. And then tomorrow morning, after a week, I see there's the sun raises and glares touching my eyes, and I just woken up there. It was early in the morning, around 6 o'clock, and I see the sun came out and people all sleeping, and there was 1, 2 person waking up, just standing up just to guard because all fishermen wanted to swim and run away. So every night we were putting a watch on it. So we just wanted to make sure that they don't run away. There was two captains there. And yeah, so I wake up early in the morning around, I don't know, early in the morning, just sunrise. I see that, we survived. All the people there was okay. And sea was very calm. It was, seems like, it was like those trouble was not there at all. And we're just cruising, at 5 kilometers per hour, I don't know, per day. It was very slow. It was tuck, 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 tuck. Boat was going like that, barely making a move. Uh, and we just, our rations and food and drink, everything was nearly finishing as well.
Has to be.
Yeah, so, and then, yeah, like 10 days down our track or at our journey, it was, seems like ration was running out now. The food, everything is becoming scarce. All the food people is eaten and things like that. And um, and people was just starting fighting on the food. Everybody was saying that I'll get my share. Everybody was saying get their shares because now we says, if the sharks, whales, or some other dangerous stuff doesn't kill us from the ocean, the thirst and also the hunger gonna kill us from the above the boat. So yeah, we just praying to God, and asking for safety and remembering our loved ones. Yeah, after 14 nights and days of journey that we saw Australian Navy ship, and they approach us with their heavy machineries and things, and commandos and everything came and so just apprehend us and things like that. It says, you brought any drugs or any weapons? We said, no, we're just asylum seekers. We're seeking rescue, refuge. And we were rescued and taken to Broome, Western Australia, and we put in detention center. And there was like a couple of razor wires around the compound, and we were taken there like criminals, and we were taken our names out and given a number. And yeah, I was there for 3 months, but some people stayed 2, 3, 5 years. Some people even indefinitely. That says because this all belongs to, I don't know, Tamil Tiger, or this belongs to the Bangladeshi community. They were staying there indefinitely. What do you imagine that you come in a peace-loving country and seeking asylum, and people just it's really heartbreaking, and there's yeah, so it was very chaotic and terrible, and in the camp detention center there was nothing. So just occasionally we see doctor. Whenever you go and say we feel sick, you say, okay, go drink plenty of water, you should be fine. Was poorly treatment in the hands of organization that they were sort of bringing all the gangsters and boxers and things like that to try to fix us up there in the camp, and we just there. And luckily, I got out in '99 during Christmas '99. It was October '99, I think I got out. Yeah, so this was my journey that I met. We nearly drowned at sea and survived the detention center, which was like Guantanamo prison camp. And many people went mental, become sick, and lost their insanity. Some people are detained indefinitely, and so they languished there, nearly dead, died there in the camp because yeah, they were belongs to the parties, which is not popular in Australia. So like a couple of years ago, there was a prime minister of Sri Lanka came here. They says, oh, detain all those people from Tamil Tigers, so keep them indefinitely in the detention center. Yeah, so this was very bad system of sort of assisting refugees and asylum seekers. And also asylum seeking refugees been accused, queue jumpers, boat people, breaking the laws, this and that. In fact, if you look in Geneva's Convention of 1949, 1951, they they says everybody has right to seek asylum regardless of their means of transportation. You come by donkey, you come by bicycle, you come by car, you come by truck, you come by bus, you come by boat, doesn't matter. As a human beings, we have right to seek asylum and safety. We have right to protect our family. We have right to, if there is war in our country, that we have right to human life, so we can save our life and we can save our family, and nobody can take away that from you. And that's why it's not illegal, it's not wrong to seek asylum and become a refugee. Yeah, so coming to other countries, they'll think that, oh, because you queue jumper, you jump in queues, and there is no queues available. If there was queues in along the way in Indonesia, Malaysia, now in Indonesia there's 14,000 people currently seeking asylum from my tribe, from my community, and they are going nowhere. There's 10 years, over 10 years, some of them just languishing in Indonesia. They don't have right to work, don't have right to study, they don't have right to education, they don't have right to any money, they don't have right to family reunion, they cannot go out of the country. If there is a queue, if there is a proper system for them to assess why they are there. They're 14 years now, and there's thousands of people. Some of them nearly, their children become adult when they're born there. So this is some of the unfairness that's inflicted on asylum seekers and refugees. And yeah, so people have very negative view because people play politics here in Australia. This is all. If you are migrants, asylum seeker, and refugees, first of all, you're not supposed to be here because we only accept people from Europe as asylum seeker and refugees. So they are real refugees and you are not. Um, yeah, unfortunately, so that's one of the conceptions that when the politicians try to get beautiful, peace-loving Australians, human-loving Australians, that they'll condemn asylum seeker and refugees. They say, oh, if there is no employment, it's because of refugees. If there is poor health system, because of refugees. If there is housing crisis, because of refugees. If there is no jobs, nothing is because of refugees. I says, put your acts together. It's not because of refugees. It's because you mismanaging the economy, and you doesn't know how to govern the country. You don't know how to have proper management system. You don't know how to have proper economical system, and your government is incompetent. That's why the country is going down. It's not because of asylum seekers and refugees and migrants, because research shows asylum seekers, refugees, and migrants, over 75 to 95% of them, they start their business one way or the other. There is research conducted from South Australian Adelaide Institute and University. There is a couple of other research recently been published by two of the major organizations that I'm happy to share the links for you later on.
Yes,
That
please.
says that they are contributing to economy, they are contributing to social cohesion, they are creating jobs, creating employment opportunities, and they are the best contributors to Australia because as best in my life. I've been celebrating Australia Day, clean up Australia Day. I always contributed to when there's bushfire, when there's flooding. In fact, I was volunteer firefighter for a few years with the country fire authority, so to protect people's life, protect their families, and things like that. So these are in the background that that migrants, asylum seekers, and refugees, how they're contributing to society and how negatively the society looking towards them or upon them.
Right. Okay. Wow. Thanks for sharing, John. Really
Pleasure.
appreciate it.
Anegas Albin.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. You want to sip water?
Yes, yes. That's fine. You can continue.
Okay.
I'll
Then
ask my.
I can edit, so don't worry. You can ask
Okay.
someone, or you
Sounds good.
can.
Anegas Albin. Okay, ask another question. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Pleasure. I hope that I have explained myself because asylum seeker refugees, the trouble that they go through, and the hardworking people that they are, and the contributing people that they are to the any host country such as Australia, America, Canada, any European countries. We always see that over 90% they are contributing. They are law-abiding citizens. They are hardworking citizens, and they always have their fair share in the country, and they're creating opportunities and employment and so on. Okay, go on.
All right. So My next question is there any hurdle, particularly Afghan migrants face in Australia?
Yep. That's a great question. First thing is because up until 2013, from 19, let's say, from 1985 until 2018, most of the migrants who came was from my ethnicity, which known as the Hazaras. Why they were coming? Because they were seeking persecutions, escaping the persecution from the hands of Taliban, brutal regime of Taliban, which unfortunately, after 99, now they have come to the power again, and now still taking Afghanistan towards dark ages, because they banned women from going to school. They are putting a very strong interpretation of Islamic faith, which is very harsh punishment and so on. They are also banning the other ethnicities, which they are in minority, from practicing their religion. They are forcefully converting the ethnicities such as Hazara Shia, Ismailis, Sikh religion, Christians, and other peoples to their way of practice faith. And there is a lot of other atrocities that currently happening that which is very hard for me to say here in live. But the thing is that you got to understand that many people, either they were killed or they were in exiled. Now, country is left to their own devices, and they do whatever they like to do. I hope you understand from this what I mean to say. And we can see the videos here and there, and they're in the name of their own faith, in the name of their own government, they are doing a lot of atrocities like that. Outside with the YouTubers and things like that, they say, "Oh, come to Afghanistan. We are peace loving. We are faithful, and this and that." But in the background, they're trying to create an hegemony and supremacy that they want to have only their own tribes represented in governments and no other. There's 23 other ethnicities in Afghanistan apart from the elite of Taliban that they try to exclude. They want to get their rights, remove their rights, and they want to make enslave them. And none of them has given them 23 other ethnicities the rights to come in the government and be part of the government. So you can say in modern terms, total dictatorship, and they're ruling the country by force of weapons and power. And then most of ethnicities try to escape this persecution because they are forced conversion. Their women are not safe. Their really cultural heritage is not safe. Like they have destroyed the Buddha's Abhaman, which my people Hazaras they protected for 2,000 years. The Buddha's Abhaman, which is World Heritage listed. Uh, During time of Genghis Khan, which we call it a very cruel and barbaric, they never touched it. They could destroy it, but they didn't. But this Taliban destroyed it. Um, so things like that, they try to wipe out the cultural heritage of people who is living there, and Hazaras to be considered that 2,000 years ago Hazaras existed there in Afghanistan. There was two other Chinese what do you call religious travelers. I don't know. There's English word I forgot now. Missionaries, which traveled the Silk Road from Bamiyan in Central Asia to Bamiyan, from Bamiyan to India, and back from that way as well. In his chronicles, in two of their chronicles, in their yeah, uh, in the accounts of history of the West from the East, something like that. There's a book name which is translated into English. He clearly mentioned that the Hazaras existed there when they were on time of the 180 to 380s. His journey was 447 AD, which he has written that book. And in this, he mentioned that the people like Chinese looking like Hazaras and with the cheekbones and thick cheekbones like that, facial features and things like that, explained that these people are protectors of the Buddhas, and they existed there in the Bamyan Valley, which was the center of Buddhist civilization for centuries, and was connecting the Silk Road from east to west, from Asia to Europe. So Hazaras were there, and they were living. They're peace loving. They're one of the aboriginals of the country. But now the outsiders who came here, 17th century, 18th century, they are saying the other tribes that they are outsiders and we are the original native of the lands. So having said that, coming back to the main question is that people escaping persecutions, either be Hazara like my tribe or some of other tribes, they face numerous challenges. First thing is that they all documentation in their control, so they don't give people passports or ID card and things like that. They control the borders. They doesn't let people go out, and some people have been shot and killed at the borders. And from that, if they escape, they have their proxies in European countries and Western countries that they can hunt them down. And then when they come here, like say, 2-3 years ago, when the repatriation happened from Afghanistan and U.S. left Afghanistan, some people you see they've fallen off from the airplane. Why they do that? Are they that crazy that they want to suicide, like holding from the leg of the airplane to reach to safety? This is fear. This is killing. This is persecution. That's why they want to do that. They says if they can survive, they can bring their family here. So yeah, recently Australian government has brought 5,000 people from Afghanistan to Australia because of the persecution, because of the repatriation from Afghanistan. And some people who are in the government, who are elite, they got in as well. Why? Because they have some friends here in Australia with the help of their MPs, member of parliaments, and things like that. They got a favor. And I know there are some people openly says that, oh, I got 60 people, 60 families from my contacts here in Australia, brought them to Australia. Then others says I got a 50 families from my families I brought to Australia. So it means a lot of people play favoritism and brought people who are in the government, people who are elite, people who are high up in the ranking of Afghanistan's government, interim government, and also during the Karzai and during the Ghani government, brought them here. Actual people who are suffering, people who are at risk, like the writers, historians, authors, filmmakers, artists, all those people, they did not get chance to get out. So some people were either imprisoned, some people were killed, some people were murdered, some people were, they put in ransom, some people, everything was taken away from them. Because those were artists, and because according to Taliban, they says, oh, this is wrong that you playing music, you making movies, you appearing acting, you're drawing ladies' picture, you creating ladies' face. All this is wrong, and they are because taking people towards the dark ages, and taking people toward backward. So those people got into trouble, but those were in the government, people who were at the treasury, who were taking all the money, they just escaped because they have friends in Australia, in US, in America, in Europe, in every countries. So with the help of them, they came out of the country. And people who are eligible, they remain there. So anyway, when the people came here, some of those people came here, they were well equipped because they were working as interpreters, they were working as, they were elite in the government, they were in high rankings officers, they were position holders. They are well off because they came here based on recommendation of some member of parliaments. Some of them may not face the challenges the way the asylum seeker and refugees face. Why? Because we came here with nothing, no language, no education, no money, no support, nothing. So our trouble was tenfolded. But when people come here, newly arrived, they're doing quite well. But I feel that asylum seeker and refugees, similar cohorts like the people coming as a student, especially fellows from India, from China, from many other countries, Bangladesh, Pakistan, other countries, when they come. When I was doing my master's degree in entrepreneurship and innovations, I see their problems firsthand. Some of them didn't have friends, family. they they were good with English, but people was struggling to understand their accent. They did not have any contacts here, so they had hard time finding a rental accommodation. They did not know anyone, so they could not find a job. Their families back home were poor, and they could not afford their $40,000 degree. Some other countries there's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, but here 42,000, 50,000, one degree. So it's quite hard and harsh because the government was only allowing 20 hours of work per week, which is, if the students coming here, they are going to maintain their education. So up to them, 20, 40 hours doesn't really matter. There should be a pathway for people on the students visa, people on bridging and refugee asylum seeker visas. There should be some support mechanism available. So yeah, they feel a lot of hurdles, they feel numerous challenges, and they need special attention rather than putting all of them in one pigeonhole. They say, oh, migrants are migrants, don't worry about them.
Ah, okay. But with all this struggle, how Afghanistan international cricket team is behaving this way?
I know you're going to ask me that question because
And
I know
seriously, man, I
India
mean, the
love
whole
cricket.
whole world, what can learn from that team?
Oh yeah. Well, I think it says, it says, what do you call it? The best man finish last. There's some saying in English.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter when you start, it matters when you finish. Yeah. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
having said that, in Afghanistan in, I think was 1840s or during the 1840s, I think it was in the 1840s during the Anglo-Afghan wars with the British, which the Afghanistan was fighting with British during British Raj. And that time, it reported in some of the chronicle books that says that the Afghans were playing cricket with Britishers. So 1840, it is not new phenomena in Afghanistan. But having said that, during 1990s, so the cricket board came to existence. 95 Cricket Federation was formed. 2008 became affiliated member of ICC. 14 and 15 became a full member, and 2015 played the ICC World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Today we see the Afghanistan's rising stars. So we know that India, who has long-standing history of being legend in cricket, and cricket team, and very renowned, and everywhere people, love to be in that team, and play cricket. Everybody is quite enthusiastic and passionate about it. So it doesn't mean, I think, when you're working hard, if you aim for something, sky is the limit. That's what it says. It doesn't matter, that, like countries like India, which has over 150 years of history, or Pakistan, our, 75, 70 years of history, or European countries, which 200 years of history, or British, 250 years of history, I don't know how many years when they started the cricket in the first place, when only elites could play the cricket.
Mm.
Now, the country is new as 2 decades old. Afghanistan is also coming in that rank. This is one of the major achievements. If we allow sports, if we allow artists, if we allow arts lover, they can make a good name for their country, and there'll be a lot of talents which going to raise out of that. But in case of Taliban, if you wanted to embargo or ban sports, cricket, music, entertainment, arts, craft, anything, if we ban them, then again we are going towards the dark ages. We should go again, and live in caves. So there's no need for housings. Why we want to make house? We should go and live in the caves, and that's it. So yeah, so that's what they wanted to stop. This is, oh, cricket is haram. This is bad. Because it seems when you're hitting with the bat, the ball, it seems like you're hitting one of the head of the holy person. That's why it's banned. Don't do that. I say, hey, world is where, and where you are, what you're talking about is garbage. Yeah, so that's why I think we should allow the uh, crickets, arts, culture, sports, all those things should be allowed.
So these guys, they don't live in Afghanistan. They live outside, or
Most of them, I think, they were sort of, there's also favoritism, as you know, in many countries. Some people talk about the cricketers in Pakistan team. They talk about cricketers in Indian team. They have very high recommendations, you know. In general term, they says that they are son of the generals, who makes in the team. Similar things apply in Afghanistan as well. People part of the elites that they were living outside, they can form the team. Because people, like shepherds, working in the farms who whole life they never seen the cricket, bat, never played for it because they don't have enough to eat. How are they gonna come and make into that? And also, if you see the team, there's only from one tribe, which means that you're discriminating against all 23 other tribes in Afghanistan because you think the particular elite they have special talent that they are only entitled to this team. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
So this is some of the unfortunate dark side that nobody talks about.
mhm.
Yeah, we have a
But
lot of talents there, but we feel discriminated because we're never given the opportunity to be contributing.
but yeah, I mean, this war-torn nation, the way the team is performing, it's just like hats off to those players and their
Yep,
families, and yeah.
yep.
Okay, so you are also president of Australia-Afghan Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, there's new organization which has been formed,
Mm-hmm.
Australian Chamber of Commerce. Unfortunately, it did not survive for long because so it's just for a year a president. Then,
Okay.
yep. There are few activities that happen that we trying to create a links between Australia and Afghanistan. So most of the businesses thrive, in Afghanistan as well as here in Australia, so they can do import and exports. Many of the Afghanistan products, such as dry fruits, and there's such as pomegranates, a lot of other exotic fruits. There's saffron.
Oh
There's
yeah.
many important things from Afghanistan could be imported here, and it be worthwhile, is worth as a gold, you know. And this will also help. Is one of my friend who's written a thesis on it, that because there was a lot of poppies for past 2 decades. Poppies was cultivation was very very common in Afghanistan. So they says if you replace it with saffron, it will really remove that bad thing, and because this is very bad, detrimental for humans and human consumption, human civilizations, because making everybody as druggies and junkies, and it's unsafe for humanity.
Yeah.
So get rid of that and put a saffron there. Saffron is like a gold, and this can be alternate to that.
Right.
There's many exotic fruits in Afghanistan, such as pomegranates and many other things could be brought here. Apart from that, there's a lot of minerals,
And
jewelry.
lot of hand work. I mean, the textiles and stuff, I guess,
Yes,
that
high
is also possible.
quality
Yeah.
embroideries and handicrafts. In
Yeah.
this book, I think I've written many of them, explain to them that they can be brought here and imported, and many people could buy it, for a reasonable price. Because at the moment, the black market or maybe in international like Amazon and things like that, it was selling like a gold.
Mm, mm,
Worth $100, they will ask $1,000 for it.
mm,
Yeah,
mm,
so the
mm.
exploitation could stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things, but unfortunately, it's short-lived because a lot of asylum seeker and refugees, we are struggling with our life as it is. So we cannot, volunteer our life to have like 20 things running ad hoc, because we also have a family and career to look after and other businesses of our own. So this is all voluntary work that I was doing. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So at the moment, it's not a good state of play, and I don't think it's going to survive any further.
Okay.
Yeah, if there was assistance available from Australian government, so they're putting some grants, some fundings, and things like that. Obviously, this sort of small, micro, and small organization would succeed, and this will put up very good footings for Australia and Afghanistan's exchange and import and export. And this
Yeah.
could become a very viable viable means of exchange.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Please explain. You always talk about this Hazaraology.
Yep.
Please explain a little bit on that.
Sure. Yeah, Hazara is ethnicity, such as myself. I'm a Hazara, and the Hazaraology is the study of Hazaras. There is a book written that says falsification of history, and history is falsification. It's in Farsi, but I've explained it in English. So that book talks about it when how as saying goes in English, only victors write the history. And when victors write the history, it will be very ugly because the victors always boost their own credentials and also discriminate, diminish, and scapegoat other ethnicities, tribes, or people who lost the battle. And the history of Afghanistan been manipulated. People fabricated history of Afghanistan, especially in the hand of British East India Company, especially in the hands of people who are the allies of British East India Company. So people who's like uh, Elphinstone is like Blue, Louis Dupree. There's a couple of other people, who came to Afghanistan and tried to write the history, and many of them, unfortunately, manipulated the history and fabricated some of the fake things which shouldn't be in the historical books. Some of the things that they lied because they were in favor of British, and they were in favor of British East India Company, and they were in favor of the government of the time. And many of them was manipulation. Many of them was fabrication. So yeah, for past decade and a half, or 2 decades, that I'm trying to making sense of all things which were in the historical books and which are wrong, which are not supposed to be in the historical book, and I just write it again, rewrite it, and got a lot of scholars and have a good platform where thousands of people join me, and they wanted to research, they wanted to analyze the data and historical records and literature to find out what was the fact and what was the lie that they were told to the people. So the victors wrote the history, and they were very messy and ugly, and it needs to be rewritten. But unfortunately, since I started digging, I have thousands of books that I am at the moment is an exhausting job to sort of sift it out, find out which one is correct, which one is wrong.
Mhm.
I can see over 10,000 book that was written on the history of Afghanistan. And it's not human's job to sort of sift out the 10,000 book and find out which one is which. 10,000 book.
Wow,
There's
huge task.
20,000 articles that is beyond the comprehension. So he says, there is a trick that says, whenever you try to catch fish with a stick, you try to make the water muddy.
Mm-hmm.
When the fish can't see, then you can grab it. Same thing applies here. You write 10,000 books, then nobody can find out, which one is lie, which one is fact. So that's what they did, and they try to falsify. And what the victors wrote the history, now that history become the fact, because that was the only book survived.
Yeah.
Because the books from my ancestors, they were all burnt. The books that were found from the other tribes, that they were all destroyed and burned. Some of our books, which was from our academic scholars and historians, they were thrown in the Helmand River. Why? Because it's talking about the fact. It's talking about the truth. And they says they can bury the truth, but it's never going to be die out, because people still have copy of that book.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come out sooner or later. But the thing is, now they says, who cares? Now we murky the waters and we caught our fish. It means that, US and European and NATO and things like that, they got to Afghanistan. They occupied the country for 2 decades. They've taken all the mineral out. They've taken all the jewelries out. They've taken the gold out. They've taken the gas out and sell it to Central Asian countries, millions of tons of minerals taken out. Now it says, we got what we needed. Who cares about the history? Who cares about Afghanistan? Yeah, so that's what happened.
Mhm.
Because this is the rotten capitalism. And it talks about the profit, and it talks about the gain, what's in it for me, and leave the countries to be rotten. Same thing happened to India in 17th century when British East India Company went to India, stolen everything, and now leave a rotten apple. And most of jewelers that they're I see there is a documentary in Netflix that says the the artifacts the British stolen. I'm sure you've watched it. And this they will truly explain, the millions of things, they were taken out of India, out of Afghanistan, out of example of Kohinoor, Hira,
Mhm.
all those things. Anyway, I think it's enough for me on that topic.
Anyway, thank you. So we are almost end of it. So the last question on
Yep.
a positive note,
Yep.
you are also Ikigai life coach. Okay. With some positive note, because you are a very positive guy, I know
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
some tips for our audience.
Yeah, sure. So any migrants, refugees, asylum seekers, people, students, visas, people who came to our country, obviously looking for one thing. It is a good fortune. It is to make a wealth and take it back home, because you have tons of families who is waiting for you to to extract that gold from you. But when you come here, you suffer. Some people suffer to like minor drugs. Some people suffer from doing some naughty things, finding after girls and this and that. Some people waste their times, watching movies, and playing on Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram. Some people suffer from, uh, doing nothing. They're just surviving. Work, home, sleep, eat, back to work, and repeat again. But, a decade ago, I went out and asked people, what's the purpose of your life? They said, I don't know. I asked dozens of people, hey, what are you doing this day and night in the cycle of, doom cycle, day and night? What do you do? I don't know. He said, what's the purpose of your life? He said, I don't know. Nobody told me what's the purpose of my life. They says, if you don't know where you're going, nobody is going to get you there. Yeah. Because I don't know where you're going. So how am I going to get you to the right destination? Yeah. Well, the thing is that, we've never been told to seek the life's purpose. In Japan, which the people live up to 105 years of age, even Okinawa and some other regions in Japan, I'm really impressed by Japanese inventions and many uh, philosophies and things like that that they've adopted. One of them is the Ikigai. Iki means life, Gai means purpose. I means life's purpose. But if you ask the Japanese, they will say, oh, it may not be exactly interpreted to life purpose, but it means is, in general terms, is what do you get up each morning for? What do you want to achieve in your life? Let's say if you're on your deathbed, what is your final saying to your remaining relatives? Apart from that is, let's say, if you, let's say, one of us will pass away, and it says in your eulogy, when you die and people say some sad things or some happy things for you, about you, what do you want to be remembered for? Many people says nothing. I grown like vegetations. I came to this world, watched some movie, play some TikToks and Facebook, and I died, and that's it. I don't want to be like that. I want to be remembered for something, something at least than nothing. So yeah, since I figured out this thing, I've written 40 books.
Mhm.
40 books. The content doesn't matter. The content doesn't matter. So I've written 40 books, and
Wow.
so this is, yeah, 40 books, and I'll send you a link later on so people can.
Yes, please. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So this 40 books, I've written about anything and everything. about for children at the moment. Yeah, so those 40 books, and I've written this book and this book, and I've written this too as well, or at least contributed to them, and I'm about to finish this book as well.
Wow.
Um, this is not to impress you, but upon your audience that
Yes, please. Yes, I'm happy that you are sharing it.
yep. The thing is that I want to leave a legacy. What is
Yes.
legacy? Legacy is like say Mahatma Gandhi. Some people ask him, "What was the purpose of your life, and what is the biggest lesson you can give to humanity?" He said, "The purpose of my life was non-violence, and what I can teach to humanity, go study about the way of my life, the simplicity." Yeah. So he says, okay, the life I lived is that's the lesson I got teaching to the humanity. That's Mahatma Gandhi said. So what it means is, that the way I lived, I did not live lavishly. I'd never ridden a Rolls Royce. When I go to England, I was with my chappal, and one of them was fallen off, and he threw another one as well. He says, go and get this, because if people, they can't do anything with one chappal, so he take both. Just walking barefoot, from East India to West India. Um, and these are some of the lessons that we need to learn from the charismatic leaders. The purpose of my life is not to born like an animal. What's the difference between animal and humans? Animals doesn't think, they do repetitive things and they will just languish, born or be eaten by some people and they die. But humans, we think that we are super creature, we're human beings, superior creatures than the other animals. We have a purpose. Like say, a guy was in India who was written 123 book. I forgot his name, an English guy who went in most of his life spent in India. He just came out of my mind just right now. He has written 123 books, and some of these books is really impressive. And this was the purpose of life. So the Ikigai is finding your life purpose. What do you wake up every morning for? What are you passionate and enthusiastic for? Believe me, somebody once says that humans born twice. Once when you're physically born. Second is when you know why you are born. So ask yourself this question: why you have been born? What is one of those special talent that that Supreme Being, Allah, Bhagwan, God given you? And you find that and make use of that and be renowned for that. And that's the purpose. And then life uh, lived without purpose is life half lived. Yeah. So if you wanna be remembered for something, if you wanna leave legacy, poor people always think the same like Robert Kiyosaki says that I want to make a lot of children. Well, this philosophy is good in East, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, India, I have a lot of children, so when I grow old, they'll look after me. But here in the West, in Australia, people don't care. In Europe, America, Europe, people don't care. Children just throw you, at the pension home, elderly home. So yeah, here your children is not your legacy. So you have to find something alternative for your legacy. You find your special talent, work the best out of it, and leave that legacy for the world to remember.
Nice. Nice. Very nice. So on that, we end our podcast here. Thank you, John. Thank you
Right.
for your time. And for our audience, as you know, if you want to live your life in your own terms, this is the right place. This is URL Podcast. I'm Gautam. We are ending here. Thank you, John.